Hello and good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Michael Reads. I am back. I am back after a short break. I just wasn't feeling great for the last couple of weeks, but thanks to all goodness, I am feeling a lot better. I'm on the mend. I'm able to continue doing this, to continue doing things with my family, all the things that I love after having had spent quite a bit of time, just being a patient, practicing patience. So I thank you and appreciate all of you who have been inquiring, giving your advices, or just letting me know that you're all in similar situations. But yes, I am back, um, and we are on this last video. This live was planned for, I think it's coming up to almost 2 weeks ago, and it is going to be the last live that I do on the Marcus Aurelius stage, where we've been through his book, um, the meditations by him, and yeah, if you would like to see a chapter by chapter, um, listen to a reading of it. I've got it all set up on a playlist here on Michael Reads. But at the end of it, I did do a full summary of the whole book just in one video. That's the last live that I did. But I just wanted to do this live because with everything that we went through on the book Meditations, you'd think that Marcus Aurelius was maybe like someone who was wealthy, someone who is prestigious, but he was much more than that. He was a Roman emperor. I mean, let that sink in. It still blows my mind just to be able to say that he was a Roman emperor. Now we all know um, all that the Romans did and how much influence they had and how they affected the world, and how some of the things they curated, some of the buildings they built, some of their architecture, and you know the way people moved all around the world, how it still influences us today. But Marcus Aurelius was one of the greats. Um, when we do think of power, we often imagine excess, like control, dominance. But we think of um, the ability to bend the world to one's will. But what if the greatest man to ever hold power spent his whole life trying not to be controlled by it? That's what um, Marcus Aurelius was about. He was the emperor of Rome. He ruled over one of the largest, most powerful empires the world has ever seen. And yet, in his private writings, he spoke not like a conqueror, but like a student of life, a man who was trying every single day to master himself. Look, this is the story of him, and not just the philosopher, but the ruler, the warrior, the decision maker, and the human being behind the pages of his book. Um, the early foundations of a different kind of man, Marcus Aurelius. He was born in 121 AD into a Rome that was already at the height of its power, and into a family that could have easily guided him toward privilege and comfort. But from an early age, something about Marcus set him apart. While others leaned into luxury, he leaned into discipline. While others sought entertainment, he sought understanding. He was drawn deeply into philosophy, particularly Stoicism, which taught the external world as unpredictable, often harsh, and ultimately outside of our control, but that our thoughts, our reactions, and our character remain entirely our own responsibility. This idea didn't just interest Marcus, it consumed him. As a young man, he chose to sleep on the floor, to wear simple clothing, and to train his mind to endure discomfort, almost as if he were preparing himself for a life he could not yet fully see. And in many ways, he was. So, unlike many rulers throughout history, Marcus Aurelius did not claw his way to the top. He was not driven by ambition in the traditional sense. His rise was shaped instead by adoption, a uniquely Roman practice among the elite, and by the decisions of Emperor Antonius Pius, who saw in Marcus not just intelligence but character. When Marcus eventually became emperor in 161 AD, he did something almost unheard of. He chose to share power with his adoptive brother, Lucius Verus. I do apologize if I pronounce their names wrong, but I will do my best to nail them so that if you would like to do your own research, you're more than welcome to. So, in a system where power was absolute and often jealousy guarded, this decision alone tells us something important about who Marcus Aurelius was. He did not see power as something to possess, but as something to manage responsibly. What was Rome like under Marcus Aurelius's rule? Um, if he had ruled during a time of peace and prosperity, his story might have been different. But fate had other plans. Almost immediately after taking power, his reign was tested. War broke out across the empire's borders. The Parthian Empire challenged Rome in the east, while Germanic tribes pressed hard against the northern frontiers. At the same time, a devastating pandemic, the Antonine Plague, swept through the empire, killing millions and weakening Rome from within. Excuse me. Life under Marcus was not stable or easy. It was a time marked by fear, loss, and constant uncertainty. And yet, through all this, Marcus did not retreat into comfort. He did not detach himself from the suffering of his people. Instead, he moved toward hardship. He spent years away from Rome, living among his soldiers, leading campaigns along the Danube frontier, enduring cold, hunger, exhaustion, and the ever present threat of death. And it was here, in the quiet moments between battles, that he wrote the words that would outlive him. Meditations was never meant to be read by anyone else. It was not written for an audience. It was not crafted for legacy. It was a private conversation, a man reminding himself how to live. In these writings, Marcus Aurelius does not sound like an emperor. That that's the thing that gets to me the most. It doesn't sound like an emperor. It just sounds more like a very, very, very wise man. But he also sounds like someone struggling to remain patient, to to control anger, to accept the inevitability of death, and to stay grounded in a world that constantly pulls him away from his principles. He writes about how short life is, how quickly we are forgotten, how little control we have, and yet how important it is to act with integrity regardless. There's something deeply human about this, because here's a man who commands legions, who governs millions, who holds ultimate authority, and still finds himself wrestling with the same thoughts that we do. Um, Marcus Aurelius was a warrior and a philosopher, and is often remembered as a philosopher. But to understand him fully, we must also see him as the warrior. So the Marcomannic Wars were not campaigns of expansion but of defense. Rome was under pressure and Marcus had to respond. He led from the front, not as a distant figure issuing commands, but as a presence among his men. He faced the same dangers they did. He endured the same conditions, and through it all, he remained committed to the Stoic belief that hardship is not something to be avoided, but something to be faced with courage and clarity. This combination, philosopher and warrior, is rare. Most leaders lean heavily toward one or the other. Marcus attempted to embody both. To truly understand Marcus Aurelius, it helps to look at those who came before him. Consider emperors like Nero, who ruled through fear, indulgence, and spectacle, prioritizing personal pleasure over responsibility, or Caligula, whose reign became synonymous with chaos, cruelty, and instability. These were men who allowed power to consume them, to distort their judgment, and to separate them from reality. Even among the more respected emperors, such as Trajan and Hadrian, is it Trajan? Or Hadrian, there was a strong focus on expansion, architecture, and consolidating Rome's dominance. They were effective leaders, no doubt, but their legacies were tied largely to what they built or conquered. Marcus Aurelius, however, represents something different. He's often referred to as the last of the five good emperors, a group called Nerva, Trajan, it included Nerva, Trajan, Hadrian, and Antonius Pius, leaders known for relative stability and competent rule. But even within this group, Marcus stands apart. Where others focused outward, Marcus focused inward. Where others built monuments, Marcus built discipline. Where others expanded territory, Marcus explored the human condition. He did not seek greatness in the traditional sense. He sought to be good, and in doing so, he became great. His uh, his successes include, despite the immense challenges of his reign, Marcus Aurelius managed to hold the empire together. He prevented invasions from overwhelming Rome. He maintained under order during a time of widespread disease and instability, and he governed with a level of restraint that is almost unheard of for someone in his position. He understood that power is temporary, that reputation fades, and that the only thing that truly matters is how one lives in the present moment. And yet, Marcus Aurelius was not without fault. Perhaps his most significant and controversial decision was naming his son Commodus, as his successor. This broke the tradition of adopting a capable heir and instead placed power in the hands of someone unprepared to wield it wisely. Commodus would go on to rule in a way that sharply contrasted with his father, marked by vanity, poor leadership, and instability. This decision alone reminds us that even the wisest individuals can make choices that have lasting consequences. Marcus also presided over the persecution of Christians, reflecting the limitations of his perspective and the influence of the cultural and political environment in which he lived. These aspects of his rule complicate his legacy and perhaps make it more real. Marcus Aurelius died in 180 AD, far from Rome, still on campaign, still serving the empire until his final days. He did not die surrounded by luxury, but in the same environment he had spent much of his reign, on the frontier, facing the challenges head on. And yet, it is not his military campaigns or political decisions that have secured his place in history. It is his thoughts, his reflections, his attempt to live a life of virtue in a world that made it incredibly difficult to do so. Nearly 2,000 years later, Marcus Aurelius continues to influence people across the world. In an age of constant distraction, his words remind us to focus. In a culture that often chases external validation, he reminds us to look inward. In moments of frustration, uncertainty, or hardship, his writings offer a simple but powerful message. You control your mind, not external events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius was not perfect, he was not without contradiction, but perhaps that is exactly why he endures, because he did not present himself as someone who had all the answers, but as someone who was searching, striving, and reminding himself day after day to be better. And if a man who ruled the known world could spend his life working on his character, then maybe the real question is not who Marcus Aurelius was, but who he chose to be. Keep reading and keep growing. Yeah. No modern world leader maps neatly into Marcus Aurelius. I did this search on the internet just recently, as I was curious to find out who even comes close to Marcus Aurelius. But yeah, the internet says no modern world leader maps neatly into him. He was both absolute ruler and practicing Stoic philosopher, and that combination, philosophical self-discipline at the center of imperial power, is extremely rare today. But we can draw partial comparisons depending on what aspect of him you are focusing on. But here's the key truth. Marcus Aurelius is hard to match today because he combined three roles at once. He had absolute political power, he had continuous military command, and a deeply personal philosophical practice guiding his decisions. Modern democratic systems separate those roles across institutions, advisors, and bureaucracies. That alone makes a true Marcus Aurelius equivalent almost impossible. So, the most honest answer is you don't really find a modern Marcus Aurelius in one person, you find fragments of him in different leaders. And perhaps that's the deeper lesson Marcus himself would agree with. No leader is perfect, and wisdom is never fully embodied in a single individual, but in the continual attempt to act with reason, discipline, and duty under pressure. So, this was just a quick little live, which we will put meditations fully to bed, I will be announcing the next book that I am going to do. I actually have. I might change my plans, uh, but I have two books which I am looking at right now. I won't. I will not reveal them to you, not just yet, as I still am doing a lot of prep work for them. So I'm not pretty sure which I'm going to do next, but I will be putting little hints, little nuggets here and there, so that you may try to guess. And we will be doing our first live on the book next week, next Tuesday, at the same time at 6 o'clock. But yeah, I am really excited for either one of these when I do them, and I hope to catch you on those. So until then, if you've missed anything, we've been through three books now. They're all in the playlists. But if you really enjoy this content, um, uh, could you please give us a like? Share it with someone who you feel needs to hear any of what we have gone through. Um, and yeah, if you could just share this channel, subscribe to it, invite people to subscribe to it. Let's build a community of people who love to read, people who like to download information the old fashioned way, because old is always best. It's accurate, it's in books. Um, and let's keep growing. Let's keep empowering ourselves. Let's keep um, altering our mind. There will be great changes I have mentioned before. There will be great changes that will be coming to Michael Reads, where I streamline um, the channel a little bit more. I'd like to think of everything I've done right now as a bit of a tester to see how it would go, because I will be honest with you, I was not ever sure I'd be comfortable in front of a camera, and let alone know that what I am doing is going out to the world. But hey, it's gone pretty well so far. I thank you for everyone who's watched even 5 minutes of any one of my videos, because we have collectively gone over 1,000 views, which is mind blowing, because I literally just decided the best way to make a new habit stick is by uploading it to YouTube. And if you have something that you would like to make a habit, a good habit, I suggest you do the same thing. You do the same thing, and just be consistent with it and keep it going, because it will help you grow. So thank you again for joining me on this live stream on Michael Reads. Keep your notifications on, please, because I will be uploading some shorts very shortly. We will be doing some great things, some new things, and it will be pretty awesome. I'm pretty sure you like it, and I will be welcoming feedback whenever some of the changes come in. So thank you so much. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to catch you next week. Keep an eye on your communities page. Keep reading, keep growing. Thanks for joining me on Michael Reads. Ta-da.